They say you never really know what you're made of until life puts you through hell and back. Well, let me tell you about the year my daughter Emma, just 17 and fighting cancer, taught a whole neighborhood what courage actually looks like and what hate can turn a person into. If you think your neighbors are bad, just wait till you hear about Margaret Silverton, president of the Meadowbrook Estates HOA, and how she decided that my dying child didn't deserve to live among normal people. Yeah, that happened. Some days, I still can't believe it myself. Emma lost her hair pretty early in her treatment. The chemo didn't leave much behind, so she started wearing this little pink hat everywhere. Looked adorable, even when her cheeks got hollow and her eyes looked so tired, ringed with dark circles that no amount of rest could fix. Back then, we lived in an old house packed with memories of better days. Days when Emma ran around playing soccer, dreaming of being a vet, always bringing home stray animals like she was building a zoo. But after cancer came, that house felt like a museum of grief. Every wall, every photo, even the backyard felt like a ghost of what we used to have. One day, Emma just whispered, "Mom, can we move somewhere new? Maybe I could feel normal again." Her voice was so quiet, raspy from the meds, but she meant it, so we packed up and found a place in Meadowbrook Estates. You know the type? White houses, blue shutters, perfect lawns, the whole step-forward vibe. That we set up Emma's room with every medical thing she could need. Oxygen machine, for stand, nurses in and out. Also, she could have a shot at getting better, a new start. The very first morning, before the sun really hit the windows, our doorbell rings, and in waltzes Margaret Silverton. Perfect hair, perfect makeup, smile so fake you could see it crack if you looked too close. "Welcome to Meadowbrook Estates," she says, handing over this brick of HOA rules, and then, like she smells something funny, peers around me, spots Emma's equipment, and that smile vanishes. "Oh, I wasn't told there were medical issues." Her eyes narrowed, voice cold. "This isn't zoned for medical facilities. You'll need permits, and it violates at least a dozen regulations." And right then, Emma comes out, holding onto the wall, pink hat askew, pajamas falling off her bony shoulders, and Margaret recoils, like my kid is a wild animal. "Is she contagious?" she asks, and no matter how many times I explain, she keeps insisting that cancer patients leak toxic chemicals and are dangerous. Total nonsense, but said with so much certainty, you'd think she wrote the textbooks. Next morning, a truck pulls up to drop off oxygen tanks, and Margaret's on it like a hawk, shrieking at the poor delivery man. "Medical trucks are not allowed here. Take that somewhere else." Emma sees all this through the window, and for a moment, I thought she might just shatter. "Maybe we should move again, Mom. I don't want to cause problems." Broke my heart, but the thing is, Margaret's crusade was only beginning. She started complaining about every little thing. Nurses tracking germs, oxygen machines being too loud, Emma ruining the aesthetic by just sitting in her own window. Emma tried so hard to disappear, asking nurses to park blocks away, keeping her machine as quiet as she could, barely stepping outside. Hoping if she became small enough, maybe Margaret would stop. 3 weeks in, Margaret calls a community health and safety meeting, inviting the whole street. Emma wanted to go. Maybe, she thought, if folks saw her as a person, not a threat, things would change. We got her dressed up, hat pulled down low, a little makeup, wheeled her into the community center where Margaret stood with a PowerPoint full of photos. Our house, Emma's face, words like medical waste, contamination, disease. She claimed cancer patients drop property values 40%, showed fake charts, said Emma was contaminating the block. When Emma tried to speak, voice shaking but honest, talking about fighting cancer, never hurting anyone, some neighbors softened. Mrs. Chin was in tears. But Margaret cut her off, shrieking that Emma didn't belong, that she was a walking health hazard, demanding a vote. Stay or go. 28 people said we had to leave. Emma broke down, sobbing in her chair. That night, in the ER, fever spiking, she whispered, "Maybe Mrs. Silverton's right. Maybe I'm a burden. Maybe I don't belong." The weeks after, Margaret filed complaints with everyone: City Hall, Fire Department, Child Protective Services. Every time, we were cleared, but the stress ate away at Emma. She lost more weight, stopped eating, got too scared to even look outside. One morning, she said, "I can't fight cancer and Mrs. Silverton. It's too much." That's when I snapped. See, Margaret didn't know I was Judge Sarah Mitchell, federal judge for 23 years, used my maiden name at home, but in court, nobody pushes me around. When the HOA sued us, demanding Emma be removed as a public health emergency, the case landed right on my desk by random assignment. Margaret had no idea who I was. Court day comes, and Emma, frail but proud in her chair, pink hat on, oxygen tube, looks terrified. Margaret storms in with her lawyer, demands Emma be removed immediately, shouts that cancer patients are walking biological weapons, even says, "I'm not making this up. If I were judge, I'd sentence her to death." Whole room goes silent. I stand up, trembling but steady, and take off my mask for the first time. "Mrs. Silverton, did you just demand the death penalty for my daughter?" She stares at me, confused, until I say, "Emma Thompson is my child, and I am Judge Mitchell." Everything changes. Margaret's face drains of color. Her lawyer basically surrenders. "You can't judge this case. You're biased," she sputters. I say, "You're absolutely right. I recuse myself. But before I go, everyone here needs to hear this." And I laid it out. "I've sentenced terrorists, murderers, traffickers, but I have never met anyone as cruel as you, Mrs. Silverton. You hunted a dying child over property values and lies. Emma has shown more courage in 2 years of fighting cancer than most adults show in a lifetime." The room, which was dead silent except for Emma's quiet tears, finally started to understand that I gave the case to another judge, but before I left, I made it clear, discriminating against cancer patients is a federal crime, and the Department of Justice would be very interested in what Margaret said in court that day. I went down, hugged my daughter, apologized for everything, but Emma turned to face Margaret, voice trembling but proud. "I never chose to get cancer. Cancer chose me. You try to make me feel ashamed, but I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I won't let hate ruin my heart." Margaret broke down, sobbing in public for the first time. 6 months later, Emma was in remission, and Margaret, well, she got charged with civil rights violations, kicked out of the HOA, and fined. Our neighborhood changed. People started meal trains, built real community, helped families in trouble. And Emma, my girl, started a support group for other teens fighting cancer, gave speeches, raised thousands for research, and never once apologized again for being sick or for surviving. You know, in the end, Margaret thought she was handing out a death sentence, but what she actually did was give birth to a survivor, someone who'd spend the rest of her life making sure no one else ever had to feel ashamed for just trying to live. So what do you think? Was justice served? Or did the system just barely catch up to hate? Let me know below, because in a world full of Margarets, I'd bet everything I own on an army of Emmas. Tell me, where would you draw the line between community safety and basic humanity? Share your thoughts, because this debate isn't over, not by a long shot.